You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlemagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Miss Lena Waithe.
What up?
What up?
Now, I saw Lena last night. We chopped it up on behalf of 92Y.
Yeah.
It's like we did 2 interviews, though, because I was talking to her backstage and then we talked on stage. And she asked me, she said, now, has Envy actually seen The Chi?
I did.
I said, probably not.
I did see it for you. I'm going to tell you why I seen it.
Okay.
I was in the gym training, and my trainer was like, I got to check out The Chi. And I was like, why? He was like, Charlemagne posted on his Instagram that it made him cry like a little bitch. So
Damn.
he was like, I got to go see it.
I didn't say that. What I said was Jason Mitchell has almost made me cry twice.
Oh.
And one of those scenes was from The Chi.
Yeah. I said I had to see it, so I watched it.
You did?
Yes,
So
I did.
ask him, Lena, ask him a question.
Okay, let me see. I'm trying to ask you something that won't give anything away, but what is the scene that you think made Charlemagne almost cry?
That made me actually cry.
Oh, wow, that's big.
When the boy with the afro.
Who's the boy with the afro?
The boy with the afro.
Okay.
The boy with the afro.
Are you going to give something away?
It wasn't an afro, but go ahead.
Long hair.
With the curly hair.
Yeah.
Because when they
By the
described
way,
him,
when I saw him and his hair, I was like, why can't my hair look like that?
because when they
That was the
described
first
him
thing I
luxurious.
thought.
in the
It's
scene,
luxurious.
when they told him, he was like, yeah, it was a boy that looks like he rides his bike with an afro. When he got,
Oh, all right, Envy.
that-
Come on.
that's
Some
what-
people
that's
haven't
what
seen
made
it.
Okay.
No, that's not actually.
that wasn't maybe good.
It was at the
That
scene.
made me tear a little bit. I
It
was
was
like,
a
that
scene
boy
at the funeral.
At the funeral.
Okay.
At the funeral.
I'm not-
After somebody
I don't know.
at the funeral.
But you know what didn't make sense is that
What?
he said Jason Mitchell almost made him cry. Jason Mitchell is not in that scene with the kid what you're talking about.
No, he
So
said
how
what
could-
made him cry. He said what almost made him
Envy.
cry. That's
This
what
is
he said.
this is getting a little sketchy.
I don't think
Here's a
so.
question. Did you like it?
I loved it actually.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
Very, very
Did you
good.
tweet
I loved
about it? Did you post about it?
No, I didn't post about
You
it.
need to post about it. Come on,
Damn.
brother.
I didn't post about
Come
it.
on, we
yet.
got to stick together.
You know
Come
why I
on.
didn't post about
Why?
it? Because we have a rule in my house that I can't watch a show without my wife, and I watched it without my wife.
Okay.
And it'll be destruction in my house.
Here's the
So
deal.
I have to
Then-
watch it with my wife, then I can
And this
post
is what
it.
I need.
She doesn't know yet.
I need you and Gia, right?
Gia.
Yeah. Okay, Gia. Okay, please. I need y'all to watch it together.
Okay.
All right, and then both of y'all tweet about it.
Okay, you
And
got
post
it.
about it.
You got it.
All right,
you
I
got it.
appreciate
Well, I
that.
tweeted about it, and that's how we got Jason Mitchell to come on the show.
Thank
and
you for
I
tweeting
watched
about it, Angela. I appreciate
I
you.
thought it was great, and then
Thank you.
shot my shot, and I said we would love to have you come on up here, and it worked out.
That's my boo.
Well, we
He's
got the
all heart.
creator of the show right here now,
creator's
Lena.
here. We here.
The first black woman to win a Emmy for comedy writing.
Correct. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You told me last night that you want to be the Kanye West of writing.
Yeah. I think my mission is to, it's interesting because a lot of people know me from Master of None and they know the Thanksgiving episode, which I was very honored to win an Emmy for. But I think to me, The Chi is another color in my voice. And I kind of want to keep surprising people. That's the thing we're talking about Kanye, and like every album felt so much different than the last one. You almost didn't even know if it was the same artist. And that's what I want to do. I want to keep surprising people. I want people to kind of always be guessing, like, what am I going to do next?
Right,
That's
because
my
it's so
mission.
different from Master of None.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Chicago's a hard place to represent well, but obviously you're from there, and Common's an executive producer
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
But people from Chicago will raise hell.
Oh my God. And they be nitpicking some things. They done got at me. But that's my thing. I don't ever want to sit there and go, okay, I got it. I'm good. I don't need no input. To me, I was talking to Charlemagne last night. It's like, I feel like the audience is such a huge part of my career, all of our careers. Like, we can't do this without them. And I really, really appreciate their feedback. I want to hear from them.
Explain the Chi a little bit. It's not just about the Chi Town.
Right.
It talks about gun violence and the trickle effect. So talk to people about what was your mindset when you created this?
Well, I was, it was like 3 years ago when I wrote the pilot, and I was living in Los Angeles, and, and all my family still lives in Chicago. I always run back there all the time, and I just feel so connected to the city. And I was watching all these news stories. Like, it was really hot in the news like 3 years ago. There was just the gun violence, the deaths. It was just getting to be really out of control.
Still is pretty hot.
It is still
pretty hot in the
still
news.
crazy, but I
Hasn't
think,
changed.
the tough thing is, the news, sometimes they get bored with a story and move on. So it's like, the people are still there. They're still struggling with things. And so I was just watching it, and I was seeing people go into the city and reporting on it, and which I appreciate, but at the same time, I was like, these are foreigners going into my city who don't know what it's like to survive a winter there, who don't know what it's like to run the streets in the summer there, who just don't know the heartbeat of the city. And I know the heartbeat because I used to fall asleep to it every night. And so for me, I was like, I want to be able to tell the story. And I was reading so much like Baldwin at the time, a lot of Langston Hughes, and I was seeing how they would tell stories about us and really paint a really vivid picture of who we are as a community. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh, I want to try to do this for Chicago, because I feel like there wasn't any humanity behind the headlines. They were just numbers. They were just statistics. And I know those people. And I think there's a story behind every statistic. And I kind of want to tell their story so people would not be so desensitized to the deaths. Because I think we have been dehumanized in the public eye. And I think that's problematic.
Now, I know you have a love for different world. And you call yourself a Hillman grad.
Yeah.
After learning what we learned about Bill Cosby, how do you separate the art from the artist?
You know, I think it was devastating for me because the Cosby Show and A Different World literally changed the course of my life. Like, I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for those two shows. It was like a life jacket for me, you know, growing up on the south side of Chicago as, like, you know, a kid living in my grandmother's house. So what he did may break my heart, but it doesn't take away, you know, the character of Whitley Gilbert. It doesn't make, you know, these phenomenal episodes of television go away. I think we all remember that episode with Tisha Campbell and the HIV episode, them talking about the LA riots, or the phenomenal episode called Mammy Dearest, where they sort of deal with the sort of dark skin, light skin thing. I mean, those memories are ingrained into my mind. Like, that doesn't make all that go away. That still resonates inside of me. And so it was really tough. But for me, I always, it's not going to make me feel any less joyful when I watch that show. Right. Or if I'm feeling down, I'll put it on and I'll just feel like I'm at home.
But that show made me go to Hampton. That was the reason why I went to Hampton University.
Yeah.
Because Hillman is kind of like HU, the way the calf and the grill was.
That's why
I went to Hampton.
Yeah. You know, it changed so many of our lives and had such a huge impact on us. I don't think you can throw the baby out with the bathwater on that one.
You said you wanted to be a writer since you were young, like 7 years old. How did you know you wanted to write for television? I just knew how much I loved television. You know, I always say I grew up in a 2-parent household, my mom and the TV. So it's like I was this, it really brought me so much joy that I wanted to be a part of it. And I feel like, you know, TV, when you're, you know, growing up in the inner city, that TV teaches you how to dream. It teaches you what to dream about. And that's really what it did for me. And so I just kind of say, oh, I want to be a part of that. And then, you know, when I was in 5th grade, my teacher said, I really like reading your papers. And I was like, what? Why? And she said, because you write the way you speak. And I just remembered that. And I think that's why it's so important for teachers to really highlight to kids what they do well. Because I was told at an early age, like, you speak well, you write well. You're great with dialogue.
You enjoy reading, you know, and I also loved watching TV. So when I got older, my mom was like, okay, what you gonna do with your life? I kind of combined my two favorite things, which was writing and television. And I majored in writing and producing and television at Columbia College in Chicago, because I wasn't ready to leave Chicago yet. So because my mom said, don't you want to go out of state? I was like, nah, I want to stay here.
Stay here.
Yeah. So I went to college. You know, I'm so happy I got to go to college in Chicago, because, you know, my university was like downtown Chicago, and it was amazing.
What did you think about some of the other movies and flicks made about Chicago, like Chirac and some of those others?
Well, look, I mean, I think I'm very flattered that people want to write about the city. You know, I think it's a beautiful city. It's an enchanting city. It's a complicated city. But I think because of that, I think if you aren't from there, you're going to get a lot of flack from Chicagoans. I don't think I'm as rough on folks. I know how hard it is to make stuff. It's hard to make movies. It's hard to make TV shows. So I give anybody credit for making anything. And I know folks gave Spike a hard time. He's a big reason why I'm here. So I can't ever, you know, come at him ever.
But you couldn't make a movie about Brooklyn without hollering at somebody from Brooklyn.
I mean, but I think he was hollering at people in Chicago. I think, but at the end of the day, that's Chicago through his lens. And that's his right, you know, as a filmmaker. For me, I was like, this is Chicago through my lens, which is really specific. And it's a very, you know, and I try to paint Black people with a really tiny paintbrush. That's my mission, so that way people can get a really clear picture of who we are.
When you shoot Shy, I know in LA, when they shoot in LA, they got to get clearance from different blocks, different members. Is it the same thing with Chicago? Like, you got to make sure you're okay to shooting in this block?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's even more critical. You got to, like, I remember talking to people from their windows and, like, going into certain, stores and, like, neighborhoods that I wasn't that familiar with. And we had to go in there and make peace with them. Because for me, I don't want to just go in there and profit off the neighborhoods. I want to nourish the neighborhoods we're filming in. Right. And also, too, when people would come up to us and go, hey, how can I be a PA? How can I be an intern? We'd always be like, here, come over here. Here, sign this paperwork. Here, look into this. Or come, shadow this camera guy. Because I think a big thing for me, too, is, and I know I get it, like I'm in front of the cameras and people see me, but I'm trying to tell them there's so many jobs in this business. There's people that work in wardrobe and props and costume and, publicity. There's so many different gigs. And
can they get in the club free, though? That's what they were. That's what they want.
Not if they behind the scenes. They definitely can't get in the club free. Nope.
Well, look, if you know the right people, you figure it out. But I just try to tell people that there's a lot more opportunities, like, all over. And I think that's the issue, I think, particularly in our communities, that they just see, like, oh, I want to be a writer, director, star, and everybody want to be Spike Lee. And my thing is, I'm like, but not everybody is supposed to be that. And sometimes when you're trying to be Spike Lee and it's not working out for you, they give up on the dream and run away from it. And my thing is, I'm like, no, what are you great at? Like, stop. If you're a costume designer, don't try to be the director, because then you'll give up on the dream and you could have been a phenomenal costume designer. So my thing is, like, learn about every gig. That's why I always try to tell people, like, be a PA. I was a PA, like, so much. I was a PA for Ava DuVernay on her first film, I Will Follow. And I learned so much about what every job on the set is. So it kind of helped me understand, okay, I want to be doing this, or this is what I want to do. It probably
makes you a better director, too, when you see what everybody's job is.
Absolutely.
Now,
I heard you was Ava DuVernay alumni. I did hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also, and I got to her through Gina Prince Bythewood, who did Love and Basketball. Yeah, and I got to Gina through Mara Brock-Akil, because I was an assistant at Girlfriends.
You know everybody.
I know.
That's a touchy subject for me.
What?
Because I didn't get no closure on Girlfriends. I need them to bring Girlfriends back.
I know.
Give me a movie or something.
Mara may cook something up.
I hope so.
Mara may cook something up.
Now, for the show Master of None, how many of those things that you wrote about are real life stories? Because there's some random, like, guy masturbating on the train, citizen's arrest.
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't a writer on the show. And so, like, a lot of that stuff comes from Alan Yang and Aziz Ansari. That's them, pulling from their own life experiences. The first time I wrote on it was for the Thanksgiving episode.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to, because...
And then you went and won an Emmy for it.
True. I'm very grateful. But I think I really didn't want it to be muddled, because I'm a writer first. And, because I'd written The Chi, before I got cast on Master of None. And I thought, I was like, oh, I don't want people thinking, oh, well, she writes on this show and she stars on it. It's like, no, I didn't write anything in season 1. They met me and they were like, okay, we had another idea for this character. We thought she was going to be some chick that may have been a love interest for Dev. They're like, but we like that you're a black lesbian and kind of, have an interest in swag. So we're going to rewrite all these other scripts and make her like you.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, cool. So I really trusted them and they knew my voice and they really appreciated my cadence. I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. But then in season 2, when I circled back with Aziz and we're talking about just, like, life stories, I told them about my coming out story and they were really entertained by it. And I didn't think my coming out story was that extraordinary or fascinating. Maybe because it was mine, but they were like, no, that's an episode. And I was like, okay. And then and Aziz was like, we should get Angela Bassett to play your mom. I was like, okay, keep wishing. And then Angela was like, she read the script and she was like, yeah, I'd love to come, like, play with you guys and do this. Wow. And then I was like, oh, well, now I can't be messing up now. I got to really get this together. And then Melina Masukis, the phenomenal Melina Masukis, agreed to come and direct it. And Kim Whitley, who is a living legend, came and played my aunt. And we all got that family member who was cool with you being gay when everybody else is, on the struggle bus. And it just turned out to be this phenomenal experience. And that's why I said, like, the Emmy was icing. Like, I had such an amazing experience doing that, and the response I got was phenomenal. I didn't know how much the culture needed that episode of television. I really, really didn't, because so many people reached out and was like, finally, like, we're seeing someone that reflects us and you're telling our story. Because I think so many people think, oh, a black person coming out, they're going to throw the Bible at you and kicking you out. Like, my family still can't quote the Bible to save their life. They it was more about a keeping up with the Joneses thing in my family. It was like, oh, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And and I was talking to Charlemagne last night, like, my mom, was born into a segregated America. She was born in 1953. And so for her, what it means to be a good black person is to make sure white people don't feel uncomfortable around you. And I think for me, I didn't care if when I walk into a room, the energy changes. I didn't care to shout from the rooftops. Like, yeah, I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be gay. I'm proud to be a woman. And then I realized how much of an anomaly I was in the industry. Because if you look at how many black people are in Hollywood and how many out gay black people there are in Hollywood, the numbers just don't add up. It don't make sense. So I know I get a lot of credit for being out and proud and all those things, and I'm grateful, and I get it. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll happily carry the torch because somebody got to do it. But I think for me, what I hope is with my success and just my career and my trajectory, I hope that somebody looks at me and goes, you know what? Maybe it ain't that bad. Maybe I should just stop trying to be pretending to be something I'm not, because that's the thing that always saddens me is that I look around, at the BET Awards or NAACP Awards and kind of look around and go, I wish everybody here could be themselves completely. Because I still think it's an issue and there's still a level of shame that goes along with it, which is unfortunate.
I think it's the confidence that's intriguing. It's not the fact that you're black and you're gay and you're a woman, it's the fact that you're unapologetically all of that. People wish they could be that confident.
It's interesting because I think some people are really confident. I think there's just a level of fear of, I don't know. I don't know what they're afraid of. I can't speak to it because that's not my experience, but I see it all the time where I see people who I know are family, but they acting as if they ain't.
Was there a time that you were scared?
No. And my boy Justin Simeon, who created Dear White People, I remember, because I never thought I would be an actor or a public person, but I remember when we were in the process of, we had gotten into Sundance and we knew that, we knew Justin was going to be doing a lot of interviews and all that kind of stuff. And Justin and I had a conversation where we were like, we will never, ever pretend to be something we aren't when we get out there in the public eye.
People need to hear that. You get a lot of emails for Ask Ye about that, and me and my wife, we do
I thought you were about to say people always inquiring if Angeline's a lesbian.
I was like,
They do that too, though.
I want to come out. How can I come out? Like, they don't know. When you get that a lot when people call. They get that a lot. So it's glad that people hear your story.
Yeah.
Do you think it's everybody's business though? Like, some people choose to come out the closet, and some people are just like, my sexuality isn't your business.
I think that argument held water a little bit longer ago, but now I think it's imperative that, especially if you're a person of color, because the truth is for me, when I was a young black girl who knew I was different, was watching TV, I would always be staring at the TV set looking for myself.
Right.
And I didn't see me. And when you don't see yourself, you start to think that you don't matter. Or you start to think that something is wrong with you. So for me, I take it as a responsibility to be out as hell, black as hell, female as hell, so that way when some young brown kid is sitting at home and turning on YouTube and watching y'all, or turns on Netflix to watch Master of None, or is watching The Chi, or whatever it is, they will say, that's me, and she's okay, and she seems to be happy and doing quite well for herself. So you know what? I'm going to be brave and be myself and be out, because if she can do it and survive, then maybe so can I.
When's the first time you think you saw yourself on TV or in a film?
I think The Color Purple was really major for me. I was young, and I think just seeing Suge and Celie, that infamous kiss, as innocent and as beautiful as it was, it meant a lot to me, because I was sort of like, that's interesting. I saw myself even then as a kid.
Queen Latifah set it off was gangster too.
Queen Latifah set it off, man.
Because it wasn't a thing. Like, it was just like, she just happened to like women. You didn't think about it till after the fact. Like, oh shoot.
True. And I remember but that movie in general was just, I think, phenomenal. I think it's really underrated, and I don't think it gets the love it deserves, because it's a really beautiful movie about 4 strong black women who take matters into their own hands in order to, rise above their circumstances. It's a phenomenal film, and I think it's some of Queen Latifah's best work.
Absolutely.
And I remember, looking at her and going like, wow. And I'm more of a bit of a softer stud. I ain't that, gung-ho. I don't know if I but I was like, I could see myself. But even too, on the L Word, and they took a while to get a black character on there. It was toward the last season. But I remember there's a character, Tasha, who was, a black lesbian, and she was in the Army. And I remember kind of looking at that, secretly watching the L Word and be like, okay. But I'm telling you, it's important. Like, people need to see themselves. And in the culture, they have to. They're worthy of that.
School our listeners real quick, because you call yourself an openly queer woman. When did the word queer change from a slur to a term of
endearment. Yeah, I think for me, the reason why I use the word queer is because even though, yes, there's lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, intersex, asexual, non-binary, there's a lot of, categories within our group. And the reason why I like to say queer is because I don't want to separate myself from any of those other people. To me, my fight, I'll fight next to a gay man, I'll fight next to a bisexual person, I'll fight next to a trans person, I'll fight next to someone who's non-binary. I like to say we're all one big family. And so that's why I try not to say lesbian, because then I'm sort of I feel like ostracizing the lesbian group within a group of that's already a minority. So for me, when I say queer, it's really my way of just sort of being all inclusive. So that way I'm not separating myself from any other group. It's me saying we're all one big group. We all have something about us that's sort of different, and we all have to come out in some sort of way. So I just kind of feel like we're all one big family.
Well, Lena has to go, guys. So we got to wrap
just
up
one
in
last
a second.
question. She has to go, but has the Shy been picked up for a season 2 yet?
Not yet, but I feel confident.
It will.
And I'm grateful to all these people that really showed up. I mean, so many people, so many of our people, so many people that don't even look like us were Instagramming and posting and tweeting, and it feels similar to Thanksgiving, because the thing about Netflix is we don't know how people feel about it until until we see Twitter. Yeah, exactly. Right. We don't have ratings or whatever. But I think for the Shy, and we were lucky because Showtime was gracious enough to release the first episode early, so we were getting tweets and emails, and Common was getting texts, and he would screen grab them and send them to me. People were saying again, thank you for showing us as we are, and that's really my mission as a writer. I really want to continue to gain the audience's trust, and I want to continue to be a person that can really wave a flag for our community. And I think it's something I don't take lightly. And even with winning the Emmy, I'm really grateful, and I didn't expect for that to happen so early in my career. So I think for me, I feel like I'm always trying to earn it. I'm really trying to earn that moment. And hopefully I'll maybe get a few more.
One last question. How do you think the show will change the perception of Chicago? I asked you this last night, but I want our audience to hear it.
I hope it just sort of reminds them that black boys aren't born with a gun in their right hand and a pile of drugs in their left. They're born with the same amount of hope and joy and potential as every other little kid, and that we're human. And I think that's the thing that people often forget. We are human beings, and we're just a group of working class folks that are trying to go to work every day, raise our kids, and get to church when we can. And also too, I know people have said they feel really connected to the characters, and they feel like they're really rooting for them and care about them. And even though they may be fictitious, my hope is that if you care about Coogie, if you care about Brandon, if you care about Emmett, if you care about Kevin, that maybe when you hear a story on the news about some young black boy being shot and killed in the street, it will no longer just be background noise. Right. But you'll wonder what his nickname was. You'll wonder what he had for breakfast that morning. You'll wonder what his dreams were. And I think that's the mission, is to get people to care about our lives.
We appreciate you for joining us.
Lena Waithe. Lena's special, man. And she's about to be in a Steven Spielberg movie, so you know what that means. Whenever Steven Spielberg puts a black woman in their movies, Oprah, Whoopi, they go to a new level.
A new level.
That's where Lena's about to go.
Look, and I'm going to keep coming back, man. Whenever y'all hit me, I'm going to come back.
Please do. Well, we appreciate you for joining us. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.